Meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
States of America,
and to the republic
and
for
to the
which it
republic for
stands,
which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and justice for all.
Reading of the call. Yep.
Dear Supervisor, please be advised that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors will meet at 7 p.m. on January 19th, 2026 in the county boardroom. All county board members' claims are due in the administration office by noon on January 5th, 2026, so they can be prepared for audit committee approval. Sincerely, Mary Martin, County Clerk.
Roll call.
Bridget Turner,
Here.
Stacy Klein,
Here.
Richard Seisha,
Here.
Lori Severson,
Here.
Andy Todd,
Here.
Richard Anderson,
Here.
Kevin Adams,
Here.
Dick Miller,
Here.
Kevin Whalen,
Here.
John Austin,
Here.
Dawn Trug,
Here.
Robert Becker,
Here.
Renee Lyon,
Here.
Kellen Nelson,
Here.
David Larson,
Here.
Jeannie Nutter, Ron Johnson,
Here.
17-0.
Everybody's here. Great. Certify the open meeting laws have been complied with, but posting and notification. We have a 13-item agenda. Somebody want to make a motion to approve? It's the amended agenda. Motion by Supervisor Nutter and seconded by Supervisor Adams, I think. Yep, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's carried. Approval of the December minutes.
Second.
Motion by Trug, seconded by Becker. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
It's carried. Appearances. I want to thank this gal for helping us out, especially with the Workforce Development Board. She's been doing a great job for us. And anyway, she's here to report tonight on what's happening with the Workforce Development Board. Sarah?
All right. Good evening. Can you hear me? Kira?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I just put in my AirPods here because there was a lot of noise coming down the hall. So I was a little concerned if you heard Hank down, Hank sit, Hank whatever. You guys would be a little concerned about what was going on in my home. But we adopted a new dog on Saturday who has a few things to learn. And so Hank needs to be disciplined a little bit and be told what is correct and not appropriate behavior in my home. So hopefully with the AirPods in, you will not be hearing my children discipline the dog. But if you happen to pick up on that and hear that, that's what's going on. No person or pet is being harmed in my home. Just a little bit of redirection. So I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to join you this evening. I wish I were talking to you about a more exciting topic or under better circumstances. But I'll start out by saying that what I'm going to tell you, you are probably not going to like what you're going to hear. But in the end, I think we can certainly end with some positivity because I believe things are moving in the right direction now. So I'm going to start with a little bit of background because from what I understand from working with counties all across the state, most county officials are really unaware of the role that they play in the federal workforce development system. It seems that unless you are the one elected official that is appointed to the elected officials group for your workforce development area, most county officials say, what? We play a role in this? Why do we play a role in this? And so because of that, I'm going to spend just a little bit of time talking to you about the federal law and what some of the requirements are. So there's a federal law called the Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act. That act was adopted in 2014. Now that act replaces the Workforce Investment Act of 1998, which replaced the Job Training Partnership Act, and that had a predecessor of the Comprehensive Employment and Training Act. The WIOA is the shorthand or the shortened term that we use when we talk about the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. So if I'm talking about WIOA, that's what I'm referencing, this federal law. So this law is really designed to help job seekers access employment, education and training services, and other support services that they may need to enter into the labor market. We want to make sure that we have individuals in need of jobs succeeding at their jobs, obtaining the skills that they need in order to obtain employment, and making sure that we are continuing to support them as they transition into employment. And WIOA and its predecessors outline specific roles that county government play in this federal process. So under WIOA, or the federal law, each state is required to designate what are called local workforce development areas. And these local workforce development areas serve as the administrative entity, or as they serve really as the jurisdiction to administer these federal workforce programs, and to make sure that the federal funds are distributed appropriately, and to make sure that these funds are spent in the proper manner. These services that are provided, they're provided to different populations, including workers, including dislocated workers. And a dislocated worker is, for example, if you have a job or a company or a plant in your local community that is closing down, services are provided under this federal law to those particular workers to help them as they seek reemployment. And oftentimes that may include some education and training before that reemployment occurs. And we also provide services for youth. Local units of government make requests to the governor to be designated as a workforce development area. So Trempealeau County, along with 7 other counties many years ago, petitioned the governor and said, we would like to be a workforce development area, and you guys are currently known as WDA 9. There are 11 such workforce development areas across the state of Wisconsin. Years ago, there were 17 that got, I want to say maybe 20 years ago already, those 17 workforce development areas were reduced down to 11 areas. And in the future, as federal funding continues to dwindle for these purposes for the state, I wouldn't be surprised if we go below 9 areas. Each of these local areas by federal law is required to have a number of governance agreements in place. These governance agreements include a chief elected official consortium agreement, which is the agreement that these 8 counties enter into that really discusses how it is that these 8 counties are going to work together as WDA 9. They're also required to have a workforce development board that has its own set of bylaws. There's also an agreement that has to be entered into between the local elected officials group and the Workforce Development Board. And the Workforce Development Board is also required by federal law to enter into a fiscal agent agreement. There's also other federal requirements that talk about the need to construct local workforce plans, which really is kind of the outline in the budget, in essence, with regard to how services are going to be provided, again, amongst the 8 counties. So under the federal law, the chief elected official must serve as the local grant recipient and is statutorily liable for the misuse of federal funds allocated to the workforce development area. So under the federal law, it is the county officials. Technically, it's the chief elected official, but typically in the state of Wisconsin, we have consortiums. So that group of elected officials that sit on the local county consortium, they again must serve as the local grant recipient, meaning technically by law, the funds come in to the county, and then you are statutorily liable for the misuse of funds. And they use the term misuse here. And I'm just going to reframe that from misuse to disallowances, because we're going to be talking about misuse or disallowed funds. And I think I would argue that in WDA 9, just as a little preview, yes, there were funds that were disallowed, I don't think they were necessarily misused. But so it is this, it is this group of local elected officials that are required to make sure that, that all these governance agreements are in place. You are required to take in the money. You are required to make sure that you're required to make sure that that the funds are being used appropriately. Again, this is a heavy lift for local elected officials in a group in which you guys don't control the show. You're not running the show. But according to federal law, you play this rather significant role. So again, as a county consortium, you are responsible for appointing the local workforce development board. You are required to establish bylaws for the board. You serve as the local grant recipient. You select the fiscal agent for the group. And then you also have to work collaboratively with the workforce development board on such things as the budget, on such items as the policies that are going to be in place for the local area. You have to select the one-stop operator. You select the executive, and you play a role in the staffing for the group. So there's a huge role for the counties in this. And again, we enter into an agreement with the Workforce Development Board, which is technically appointed by the LEOs, in order to determine how all of these parties are going to work together within this federal workforce system. Again, you appoint the members to the board. Let's see here. Okay, some of this I'm going to skip over. So within Workforce Development Area 9, or the Western Wisconsin Workforce Development Area, currently your Workforce Development Board serves as the administrative entity, meaning that they hire the staff and they make sure that the programs are being operated in the manner in which the federal government requires and the state of Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development requires as well. In addition to that, your local Workforce Development Board currently also serves as the fiscal agent, meaning they're responsible for ensuring that funds are allocated appropriately to the different line items within the budget. They're required to make sure that funds are spent appropriately within the federal regulations, that funds are being spent in the manner in which they are required to by federal law. For example, there are certain targets that you need to meet, like you need to spend a certain percentage of your money on youth programs or on certain adult programs. There are targets that you are required to meet. And the fiscal agent should be making sure that those dollars are being allocated appropriately in order to meet those federal targets. In Workforce Development Area 9, the Workforce Development Board has chosen to incorporate itself. And so they are a 501c3 nonprofit entity, which then allows them to be the employer of the staff. The statutory Workforce Development Board that is appointed by the elected officials and the nonprofit corporation are legally two separate and distinct entities. However, in WDA 9, the same individuals serve in dual roles. So under federal law, again, each Workforce Development Board is required to hire an executive director and other staff to carry out the functions of the board as outlined by the federal government. So now let's talk about, so that's just a quick background. So let's talk about why I'm really talking to you guys tonight about WDA 9 and the local Workforce Development Board. Why do you guys care about it? And should you care about it at this point in time? So over the last, I'd say maybe 3 to 4 years now, the Western Wisconsin Workforce Development Board has experienced, I will say, significant instability and some competency gaps in certain key administrative and fiscal positions. Because of these things, that has led to several disallowed costs, which we'll talk about in a minute. The other thing that this has led to is significant oversight by the state of Wisconsin. In some of its oversight of the Workforce Development Board and its functions, the state has come to the conclusion that WDA 9 has not been in compliance with uniform administrative requirements. They were required when that finding was presented to them by the state to take corrective action to secure prompt compliance with these uniform administrative requirements. And the Workforce Development Board and area has not complied with any required corrective actions. In addition to that, the state, or I should say because of that, the state has also exercised its option to require the local elected officials to designate an entity other than the Western Wisconsin Workforce Development Board to serve as the fiscal agent for WDA 9. So we were required, and by we, I mean the local elected officials in WDA 9, who myself and Malia Malone from Atolis Law have been working with. You were required to designate a new fiscal agent by September 1 of 2025. The state was generous and gave us until January 1 of 2026 to meet this. In addition, as part of this oversight and monitoring by the state, they found that there were several $100,000 in question costs, financial statements and financial records that are not reliable, worsening conditions despite several hours of ongoing and intensive technical assistance provided by the state to certain staff, and a failure to undergo the required single audit for the past 3 years. So, administrative issues, fiscal issues, disallowed costs, the fact that this entity is currently 3 years behind in its audit. So let's talk first about the disallowed cost and what we know about those. So as discussed earlier, any disallowed costs become the liability of the counties that are members of the Western Wisconsin Counties Consortium, of which, of course, Trempealeau County is a member. So the state of Wisconsin, I would say, has been extremely generous to WDA 9 and has allowed WDA 9 to reopen program year 22, which was previously closed, to allow new staff, new outside accounting assistants to try to take a look back into the old records to see if they could try to reconstruct some things, find receipts, redo employee time cards in order to correct some of these things that are deemed to be disallowed costs. Again, the federal government uses the term misuse of funds. I don't think any funds were misused, at least not that we have any proof of. I will say that, most of the funds, the disallowed costs were because there were some modifications made to how employees were to record their time, which was not found to be appropriate under the state's guidance, which then led to and because of that, we were unable to prove that certain staff time was used in various programs, was spent on, administering certain programs, which then led to a disallowance. Again, not that the work wasn't done, it's just we didn't have the financial records to prove it. And so at one point we had disallowed costs for program year 22, I think somewhere around just over $89,000. The final invoice for program year 22 disallowed cost is $33,821.84. So that is a final number with regard to program year 22 disallowed costs that will need to be reimbursed back to the state, likely by the 8 counties as part of this region, because the Workforce Development Board and its incorporation don't have any funding in which to pay this back. For program year 23, there were question costs totaling over $350,000. The state and the staff and the newly hired accountant are continuing to work together to try to decrease that 352,000 to a much smaller number. Again, I think the last I heard, they were having some difficulty with that because a lot of this, again, ties back to employee timesheets and time cards that were not recorded appropriately, even though the state had multiple times informed certain staff that they were not doing things appropriately. So because of that, there is some concern that the disallowed cost for program year 23 could be as much as $200,000 or more. Now, there are other issues with the Workforce Development Board as well. They do have disallowances in non-WIOA funds, but because they are not WIOA funds under the federal law, we do not believe that the local elected officials and the counties need to pay those funds back. There's also an IRS penalty that was assessed, I think, in the amount of $28,000 against the Workforce Development Board as well, because they filed their 990 14 months late. And they also have an employment action against them as well, which I think, at least the last I heard again on that was it's looking to be trending in a more positive direction for the board. So that might be positive there. So we've identified all these concerns. So where are we at? So since July of 2025, a lot of work has been done by current staff of the Workforce Development Board. The Workforce Development Board, all of its leadership, its whole executive committee, most of the board has turned over. So we have a new interim executive director, Claire Bachelars, who is doing a tremendous job in trying to keep the ship upright, in making sure that the disallowed costs, that she's trying to do everything she can to make sure the counties don't have to pay back these costs. There is a new leadership, including a new chair of the Workforce Development Board and a new treasurer, who are committed to trying to limit the liability for the counties and making sure that things are being done correctly. Again, there's an outside accountant that's been hired to manage the accounts. They are looking, the board at its meeting in December has appointed Western Technical College as the new fiscal agent, which I think is a great move in terms of ensuring that things are being accounted for properly with regard to federal grant funds. The federal government or the state government has required all new governance documents to be in place. We have, Malia Malone and I have worked on drafts of all these new agreements. Last week, we had sent our drafts to the state because Malia and I are not experts at all in federal workforce development, programs and requirements. So we sent all of our draft agreements to the state to ask them to review them, to make sure everything we were putting in these agreements was correct and proper given state and federal guidance. We got very few modifications back to those, which we made. I got them from Malia Friday. I reviewed them, sent back a comment or two this morning. So we think we're going to have new agreements in place very shortly. But again, why does this affect the Trempealeau County Board? There are two things that we are going to need the Trempealeau County Board to do. The first thing we need to do is the last Western Wisconsin Counties Consortium Agreement was adopted in 2015, to the best of our knowledge. There may have been other agreements that were adopted after 2015, but the only one that we can find that was signed by all the counties were 2015. So the state of Wisconsin said, look, we want you guys to update all of your guidance or governance documents, which includes your consortium agreement. There were also, in the 2015 version of the agreement, certain things that the state has required be included in these agreements that were not included in your agreements. One of those things that is not in your 2015 agreement, but is in the redrafted agreement, is a mechanism with regard to the disallowed costs and how these disallowed costs will be allocated amongst the 8 counties. I'm not going to get into all of the nuances of the new consortium agreement that you will be asked to adopt, but I will tell you, because I know I will be asked, the county's consortium agreed to move forward the agreement with the mechanism in place to reimburse those costs based on population. So for example, if Trempealeau County is 9% of the population of the 8 counties in the area, you will be paying back 9% of the disallowed cost. The second reason that I'm here, again, is to make sure you are aware that at some point you will need to, as a county, allocate funds to cover the disallowed costs. Right now, all we know is that there's just over 33,000 in disallowed costs from program year 22, and we do have an invoice sent to your board chair, who also is the chief elected official of the area, sent to him to get paid by the state. Now, of course, the state is again generous in giving us time to figure all of this stuff out. But again, you will at some point be asked to allocate some funding to pay for the disallowed costs. But the first required action will be for you guys to adopt a resolution that will authorize your board chair as your county's representative on the Western Wisconsin Counties Consortium to sign the new consortium agreement. I'm hoping by the end of this week to send you guys a resolution as well as a copy of the new consortium agreement for you guys to review and adopt. And we will be sending this to the other 7 counties in the area as well. So again, I know this is a lot to talk about. This federal laws it's a little, admittedly, it's troubling that the counties are ultimately responsible for paying for disallowed costs for a separate legal entity that is not the county, but that is the federal law. That has been the federal law since, it took effect in prior iterations of the federal law. So that is nothing new. But at the same time, I will tell you, John is doing a great job of leading the county's consortium and making sure that we are being responsive to the state, getting done what needs to be done, holding the board and its staff accountable so that what we saw take place over the last 3 to 4 years doesn't happen again. So I think with that, I will stop. I know I threw a lot at you in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. And I'm happy to see if anybody has any questions about this.
What's the maximum liability we can be held accountable to so far? Is there any limit?
Ours is basic.
I don't believe
there is a limit, but
So we're unlimited in liability.
yeah, but hopefully there won't be any additional, but we could have up to 4 years of liability here.
Yeah,
Finally
from
getting
what I
straightened out.
understand,
Go ahead.
I would say we know the program year 22 number is approximately $33,000. Based on what I believe Trempealeau County, when I threw that 9% out there, it wasn't you guys are 9.94%, around approximately 9.94% of the population. So you guys would be responsible for 9.94% of somewhere between $33,000 and $34,000. And then in addition to that, we know there will be disallowed costs in program year 23 as well. What that amount is uncertain because we are continuing right now to negotiate that number with the state and to try to correct some of those disallowances. What I have been told is the Workforce Development Board started to appropriately account for staff time in program year 24. So we are hopeful that if there are any disallowed costs in program 24, they will be minimal because the time cards and the reporting from this for staff time had been corrected in program year 24. So again, 23 is the big year that we're still waiting to see what that final number may be.
Yes. How are we going to explain this to our constituents that the county might be liable for a part of this? They're not going to be very happy either.
Nope, I'm sure the constituents won't be happy. I'm not happy. I'm sure the county is not happy. There were a lot of things again that happened that I believe should not have happened. We're not going to talk about a lot of those publicly. I will say most of those things have since been corrected. But again, the real answer is the federal law places the fiscal liability on the counties. Does it make a lot of sense? Maybe in other states where counties play a larger role in the operation of the system, but when it comes to the state of Wisconsin and how we operate things, that federal law doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so I know that is something some of the counties in the area want to discuss with some of their federal representatives to say, you set up a system that makes us liable for a system that we're not directly responsible for as counties. It stinks. There's nothing more that can be said about it. But that's the way the federal law is written and always has been.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just wondering what measures will be put in place going forward with that board to make sure that we're not in this position again.
Yeah. So right now the leadership of the full executive committee of the former board has either resigned from the board or was asked to resign from the board. Most of the board has turned over. So we have a new board in place. We have new staff in place that have experience working in the workforce development system, where I would say some prior staff members did not have that experience and knowledge with regard to how these programs worked and how things needed to be accounted for. In addition to that, we will be entering into new governance agreements, and that will have, some oversight and reporting provisions included within them so that the locally elected officials are kept more up to date. There will be more joint meetings between the locally elected officials and the Workforce Development Board to make sure everybody is aware of everything that is going on. And I will tell you as well, the state is continuing to do monitoring of this group as well. And if they don't turn things around, the one thing I will say about this workforce development area is it is continuing to operate with fewer and fewer federal dollars every year. If at some point they cannot meet their budget or cannot put together a balanced budget or can't identify external revenue that they may be able to generate, then the locally elected officials which is the counties, have the opportunity to petition the governor to say, we're done. We don't like what's happening within this workforce development area. We want out. They petition the governor and ask the governor to take the 8 counties from WDA 9 and put them into other workforce development areas. Ultimately, what could happen is if they don't continue, if in the future they don't perform well, we will make sure as local elected officials that the area just gets dissolved.
Go ahead.
I don't want to get into too many details here, but it would be helpful for me to understand what benefit the counties receive from this consortium. I'm sure that's in the agreement, but overall, it's a workforce development consortium. I understand that, but it's the first I've heard of it. So how do we interact with that team and what benefit do we see from them?
So the county itself, I would argue, the way WDA 9 is set up, the county itself does not play a role, per se, I would say, in the workforce development system. Who benefits are the youth in your community, the dislocated workers in your community, individuals who need assistance with with education and training, interview skills, other soft skills, with regard to obtaining employment. So is the county proper receiving direct benefit? No, it is the citizens within your community who are being served by these particular programs are seeing the benefit. And then I suppose the county sees the benefit when these individuals are successful. They're buying homes, they're buying products, they're spending money within your county. So is there anybody on the county staff, that is working directly with these programs? No. But there's ultimately could be a financial benefit to the county if we have individuals that are trained so that we can keep businesses within the county's borders and assist those, in finding other jobs within the community if a business does go under.
Okay, thank you.
So there's.
With that said, I'm kind of curious as to how much has been utilized from citizens within Trumpealeau County. Do you have any stats on that?
No, I don't have any particular stats. I know we could probably ask the state to get us some of these statistics. We could certainly ask the state to do that. But I don't have anything on me tonight where I could provide you with that information. I apologize. I don't work directly within the system, so.
I appreciate that.
But we
Would
can
you-
certainly work to get you that.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Dick.
It's Sarah, right?
Sarah Dietrich.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious. You seem to be very knowledgeable about this subject matter. May I ask what position you are serving at this time?
Oh, so I work for the Wisconsin Counties Association, and I apologize.
Oh,
Maybe I
okay.
should have introduced myself when I started.
Yeah.
So I'm the Director of Outreach and Member Engagement at the Wisconsin Counties Association. And we were asked by Chair Ossen, along with the county reps from the 7 other counties in WDA 9, to assist and represent the counties and to help them kind of work through all of these things that the local elected officials are required to do, based off of letters that have been sent to the local elected officials due to these unfortunate circumstances that have arisen with the board. So Malia Malone from Atolis Law and myself have been working on behalf of the counties to rewrite all the governance documents, which it seems a little odd, but for example, if you are the local elected officials are required to write the bylaws, for example, for the Workforce Development Board under the federal law. So again, we are assisting the local elected officials. We're working on behalf of the counties to try to make sure none of this stuff happens again, to make sure the disallowed costs are kept to a minimum, and working to make sure that changes are being made and how things are operating at the Workforce Development Board. Again, all of this being done to the benefit of the counties. So we're here representing you guys,
Okay. Thank you.
and trying to make sure that your liabilities are limited and any state requirements of the LEOs are being met.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? I want to thank you, Sarah, for your hard work. I know this all started back in June when we met in Madison to get this covered. And originally it sounded like they weren't going to do it because it's a Workforce Development Board, who they do not represent. But they do represent the counties. And this has been 100% covered by WCA, which is, we're very thankful for. Yeah.
Yes. No, we're happy to help. We are happy to help you guys. And again, if you have more questions, as you think about this and you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to me at the WCA office. I'd be more than happy to, to try to answer them. And just so you're aware too, Malia and I are communicating with County Corporation Counsel as well as your county administrators, so that none of these documents, none of these disallowed cost discussions and budgetary discussions, are going to just come out of the blue for them. So we're trying to keep everybody informed as things are moving along. So again, thank you for your time tonight, and happy to answer any questions, as you think of them. Just reach out to the association, and I'd be more than happy to get back to you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Administrator update.
All right, in front of you on your desk, you have the January newsletter and also then the administrator update for the month from December 16th through January 19th. I'll just quickly go through and letting you know, and so that individuals online also hear. I've attended committee meetings, individual county board supervisor meetings, attended legal education meetings through Von Briesen and Roper, attorneys at law, participated in UW Extension meetings related to the hiring of the new community development extension educator, Hannah McKeever. She's splitting her time now between Trempealeau County and Clark County. She just began last week. Our ag extension position will begin in March. Coordinated meetings regarding central placement of the county's postage meter, resulting in the elimination of 1 meter and the associated cost savings. So the clerk is now overseeing this. The mailroom is centrally located. We have one other postage meter that is still being used and under contract, but eventually we'll be able to let that go once the contract is done and have it all in that one central area. Again, eliminating another cost. Met with Baker Tilly to review and discuss audit matters, attended all standing committee meetings, and organized and facilitated the monthly department head management meeting. Attended the Seven Rivers Alliance board meeting. We discussed housing initiatives there. Attended Tyler Munis implementation meetings and ongoing UKG system meetings. Attended one of the workforce development board meetings. Attended the drug endangered children and meeting. Participated in communications planning meetings, including discussions to formally integrate economic development and talent attraction into the county's communication strategy, including the county's Make My Move talent attraction and grant initiative proposal. We have upcoming meetings with Hannah with UW Extension to discuss more on economic development. Hosted representatives from Charles Taylor to discuss the county's transition of workers' compensation services under WCA. I think we can see the value of WCA, and with a lot of our discussions, we talked about how important it is to utilize them as much as we can and support them because of their support of us. Met with WEDC Representative Mark Tallman and Galesville City Council member Dave Carlson regarding the Galesville pharmacy closure. Participated in follow-up child care meetings to discuss completing a regional child care plan for north, central, south areas of the county. Attended weekly administrator collaboration meetings and Wisconsin Counties Association leadership meetings. Participated in the judicial engagement team meetings with full program startup that will begin in February. That's a state-run program to work on collaboration in our judicial system. Attended the 2026 Conservation and Environmental Awareness Speaking Contest. Congratulations to Henrietta Fitterer, Aspen Waldvogel, and Sophie Schaefer for their excellent speeches on environmental awareness. They did a great job. It was fantastic. It was just wonderful to see those young ladies step up into that role, and they did a fantastic job. Today, we hosted the Martin Luther King Jr. In-Service Day again, and we hosted a keynote presentation by Dr. Hoyt on microstressors. Was a recommendation from our clerk, and he did a great job talking to us. And he comes from the United States Defense Health Agency. It's very interesting. Tim Robertson and the IT team shared emergency AI tools and responsible use. Susan Fisher shared information regarding ethics. Department heads held afternoon department meetings and participated in building tours, also hosted by Jeremy. As always, a great deal of my time is dedicated to human resource management. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. I appreciate your time, and I'll give it back to the chair.
Any questions of the administrator?
Just a quick question, if you don't mind. You talked to City Council member Dave Carlson. Did you learn anything more from the Gills, of what's going on with the Gills Pharmacy? We're aware that it's closing up, but whether or not something else is coming in there, what the plans are for the future?
Well, he had a few things that he shared about that. Did you want to
Been
share?
a little bit involved,
Okay,
that I hope to be on city council, but we're fortunate to have two pharmacy owners in our community. And that's gonna help to work directly with them. And there is something in the works already that I've got to keep a little bit quiet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Could you expand just a little bit about the, the work that you're doing with WHA or WCA regarding the workers' compensation?
we had our liability insurance piece and our workman's comp with a different insurance group. And so we put it all under the umbrella of WCA. So that was just a transition that we went through.
So the dollar budgeted amount and all of that is unchanged, it's just
Correct.
moving
Well,
the-
there was some savings. We did see about, I think, because we're bundling now with everything, we saw a little over $10,000, I think, in savings.
Yeah.
But for the most part, and we'd have enhanced services as well, being under WCA, there are extra things that are provided, so
Nice,
for the
okay.
value, it seems like it's a good move.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, thank you. Becca. Move on to item 6, Parks, Tourism, and Economic Development Committee. Recommendation that Public Service Commission of Wisconsin seeks southern route of construction for Alma Blair Transmission Line Project. You want to read it?
I sure can. Whereas the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin is currently evaluating potential routes for the Alma Blair Transmission Line Project, which is estimated to cost approximately $180 million. And whereas the proposed transmission line may impact Trempealeau County and could affect the aesthetic appeal and future improvements of Peachtree Park, a valued public asset with over 50 years of past and planned investments. And whereas the southern route for the transmission line has been identified as the preferred option following discussions with Dairyland Power, and this route has not received opposition from stakeholders. And whereas the northern route would be adjacent to Peachtree Park and could negatively impact its scenic character, long-term development plans, and aesthetic appeal. And whereas timely communication with the Public Service Commission is essential, as a final route decision is anticipated by spring of 2026, and this resolution reflects the priority placed on protecting Peachtree Park and supporting the southern route. Now be it resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors hereby formally requests the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin to select the southern route for the Alma Blair Transmission Line Project in order to preserve the integrity and future enhancements of Peachtree Park and to minimize adverse impacts of Trempealeau County on Trempealeau County facilities and parks departments, recreational and campground resources. Introduced by Parks, Tourism, and Economic Development Committee, Lori Severson, Kevin Whalen, Gene Galazinski, Kevin Adams, Renee Lyon, Buzz Sorgi, Richard Anderson.
Okay. Motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Motion by Supervisor Nelson, seconded by Supervisor Lyon. Any discussion? Nope. Call the roll.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Seychelles.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Trug.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
17-0.
Item 6B, members' claims.
Whereas the audit committee has audited the following claims and recommend that they be allowed as follows. John Austin, $957.50. Kevin Adams, 0. Richard Anderson, $471.10. Robert Becker, $394.80. Ron Johnson, $279.80. Stacy Klein, $286.80. David Larson, $522.20. Renee Lyon, $251.40. Dick Miller, $294.80. Kellen Nelson, $68.20. Jeannie Nutter, $398. Richard Seisha, $445.60. Lori Severson, 0. Andy Todd, $317.60. Bridget Turner, $1,148. Dawn Trug, $389.20. Kevin Whalen, $740. Grand total per diem, $5,250. Total expenses, $1,715. Grand total, $6,965. Now be it resolved that the claims be allowed as shown. John Austin, Dawn Trug, Robert Becker.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Johnson, seconded by Supervisor Nutter. Any questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Dawn Trug.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Seisha.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
17-0.
17-0, it passes. Announcements or any, you have any announcements? Did you have any announcements? No?
The announcements, if that's the first
Okay. Get down to correspondence. Item 8, reports, Exec Finance Committee Budget Update. And
Mr.
sales
Chair,
tax, you have
they're
that?
in the packet.
Yeah, they're in the, should be in the
General
back.
fund has not changed at all. Sales tax is hanging on, which is still a little bit above budget.
Should make it.
Yep.
Item B, Property Committee, Property Purchasing Policy. I'll turn that over to our corporate counsel.
Okay, thank you. Enclosed is a property purchase policy. This policy is broken up into essentially two main parts. One is for non-tax foreclosure acquired property, and then the second part, which is very brief, is regarding the foreclosed upon acquired properties. The first part regarding non-tax foreclosure acquired properties, so those that we just somehow purchased along the way, that section of this policy came up because we were asked, what do we do with this property if somebody wants to buy it? And so this is to solve that question. What kind of procedure would we have? And so as you can read, it talks about the offer, what specifically has to be included in the offer, which committees it should go to, which it would start with the property committee. It might get referred to other committees depending on what that property is. Essentially, it would always go to the county board. I'm not sure if there are any other questions about it, but it's to give that policy, or excuse me, that procedure that was missing.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, this is brought to our attention, and so we can have some kind of procedure established, so in case somebody comes to us, and we've got some other county properties that aren't even ours, that we wanna give it back to the appropriate party, and this is gonna straighten the procedures out and make everything go a lot smoother, because we had nothing in place really to handle these situations, and I just wanna thank Susan for all of her hard work for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We need a roll call vote to approve the policy. Property Purchasing Policy Update.
Mr. Chair, don't we need a motion?
Yeah, need a motion to,
I will make the motion to approve.
all right.
I'll second.
Motion made, motion by Supervisor Larson, seconded by Supervisor Nutter. Call the roll.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Seisha.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Trug.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
17-0.
Passes. Next item, property committee again, it's supervisor or security policy update from IT department. Have you got that one? You just want to read the resolution?
I don't have the resolution.
Oh.
There's no
There is no
resolution.
Okay.
This is basically collecting all the different disparate security policies that we had regarding various HIPAA rules, various CJIS rules, and then our own rules for confidentiality and dealing with things that we want to make sure are secure. We've been completing our CIB audits. That's a state agency that enforces the rules governing law enforcement and their ability to look things up from the NCIC database and things like that. We felt like we needed to get it all in one place so that it was something that we could actually use. A policy that you don't understand or isn't collected doesn't get used, and then it's useless. So we put this in front of the property committee, and then again in front of personnel and bargaining, and both committees approved. And I'd like to seek your approval as well so we can begin leveraging that.
Okay. Your motion to approve?
Motion.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Becker, seconded by Supervisor Lyon. No questions? Call the roll.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson. Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Sasha.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Trug.
Yes.
17-0.
It passes. Item D, property committee again, artificial intelligence AI policy creation. Again, from IT department.
Okay, so I just got done telling you that we wanted all our policies in one place and it should all be in one security policy. You can forget about that for this one. I don't know if you've noticed, but AI is kind of new. There's a whole lot going on, and we don't have a lot of guidance from the state and federal government yet. Counties and municipalities across the state have been scrambling. We looked at various templates that have been put out, and AI created policies that other counties have been put together. Susan found one she liked. I liked it too. We modified it to fit our needs, took it to the property committee and personnel and bargaining. Essentially, it's something to get us started. We have to put something down because clearly it's taking over the workplace. We spent a good portion, well, probably 80% of the IT time in front of the MLK Day training, discussing AI and how to use it as an organization and how to use it safely. So this policy is just going to be there for employees to be able to reference to see what they can and cannot do with AI on site.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve? Move to approve. Motion by Supervisor Nutter,
I'll second.
second by Supervisor True. Call the roll.
Any questions?
Any questions by anybody? No questions, call the roll.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
No.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
Kevin Whalen.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Trug.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Sasha.
Yes.
16-1, it passes.
Take them on, it passes. Next one's from Exec Finance
Thank you.
Committee. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Executive Finance Committee for approval of the sealed bid. Want to read that one?
There's no resolution, it's just.
It's, anyway, the sealed bid. Has everybody seen a copy? It should have been in your packet. Okay. You want to talk about it?
Yep, we had one sealed bid that we got for the town of Gale parcel. That's, it's just a vacant lot, not buildable at all on. The gentleman who did put a bid in did realize that you can't build on it at all, so. He did put a bid in and he was the only one, and now I guess just asking for approval to go move forward.
He was the only one, and he exceeded our minimum bid
He
by.
did exceed our minimum bid by, yeah,
That was a good bid.
it was.
Okay, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Supervisor Larson, second by Supervisor Seicha. Call the roll.
Dawn Trug,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Renee Lyon.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson,
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner,
Yes.
Stacy Klein,
Yes.
Richard Seicha.
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams,
Yes.
Dick Miller,
Yes.
Kevin Whalen,
Yes.
John Austin.
Yeah,
17-0.
it passes. Correspondence, City of Gainesville. Doc Stacy, would you like to read it?
I don't have it.
Oh,
Yep, I've got it.
okay, go ahead, read
You
it.
want me to read? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
This is dated December 17th, 2025, to Richard Seicha. Dear Richard, I wanted to reach out personally to make you aware that the training session provided by Melissa Kono of the UW Extension, from the UW Extension for election workers is so beneficial to those of us in municipal roles. As the clerk treasurer for Galesville, I found the information incredibly helpful in preparing for elections, but I also wanted to highlight a specific resource that made your training even more impactful: the recording services provided by WTCO. Having the county TV studio there to document these sessions has been an absolute lifesaver for our office. It allowed my election inspectors who couldn't attend the training to access the training on their own schedule. I understand there's currently some discussion regarding future of the TV studio's budget, and I wanted to voice how much of a loss it would be for our local clerks if those services were cut. WTCO provides a professional bridge between county resources and city workers that we simply cannot replicate on our own. Their work ensures that the knowledge you share stays accessible and useful long after the meeting ends. I truly hope the board sees the value in keeping this service alive. Thank you again for your leadership and for looking out for the needs of our local offices. Best regards, Jennifer Hess, Clerk Treasurer, City of Galesville.
Well, thank you for bringing that forward. We have another thank you from Arcadia Public Library.
Yep. This is dated November 26th of 2025. Dear Trumpealeau County Board of Supervisors, the Arcadia Public Library staff and Board of Trustees would like to thank you for your continuing support of Trumpealeau County Libraries. Reimbursing the county libraries 100% allows us to continue providing free services and resources to the community. In the first 9 months of 2025, Arcadia patrons saved more than $227,000 by borrowing physical items from the library. This figure does not include the additional value of e-resources borrowed, programs attended, Wi-Fi and technology support utilized, room reservations, and more. Libraries serve a vital community as vital community hubs where people can gather, interact, and engage with one another. Your generosity makes a significant difference to the many community members who rely on our services and programs. We are deeply grateful for your continued commitment to literacy, lifelong learning, and the enrichment of our communities. With sincere appreciation, it's the Arcadia Public Library Board of Trustees and the Arcadia Public Library team.
Item 10, we go into closed session. I'll have our super reader of this, Renee.
Oh, certainly. Me?
Call you super reader.
I move that we go into closed session as an update regarding department performance concern and required and received employment employee complaint. This item is in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 sub 1 sub c, which permits a governmental body to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and Wisconsin statutes 19.85 sub 1 sub g, which permits a governmental body to consider conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved.
Okay, need a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Motion was by Supervisor Lyon, and seconded by Supervisor Nutter. Call the roll.
Bridget Turner,
Yes.
Stacy Klein,
Yes.
Richard Seisha,
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Richard Anderson.
Yes.
Kevin Adams. Dick Miller,
Yes.
Kevin Whalen,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Dawn Trug,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Renee Lyon,
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
17 to 0.